gonna have a little fun with this one. Recently, I've seen a lot of Twitter trends, of all different fan bases. The Celtics named their top 5 of all time, their starting 5 players. I've seen Sixers fans doing their all-time starting 5 for the Sixers. And so I wanted to ask you guys if you guys could put together your 76ers all-time starting 5, who would that be? And I can lead the way if you guys want me to.
You obviously want to. Go ahead.
Okay, so I do. So my starting 5 would be, so I would have our guy E. Snow at the 1. I would have Iverson at 2, Dr. J at 3, Barkley at 4, and Embiid at 5. Thoughts?
Go ahead, Teja.
I put now 1 and 2. I mean, go either way here. I put Hal Greer at 1, AI at 2. I put Julius Erving at 3, put Barkley at 4, and Wilt at 5.
Wow, Wilt over Embiid, huh?
I have a side question about this, so I'm going to wait for Eric to go first, and then we can start discussing.
I don't need to go. My 5 is the same as yours, Teja.
Wow.
My 5 is the same. And you know what? I had to even look it up and kind of look at how long Wilt actually played with the Sixers. I know he was with Philadelphia when they were the Warriors, but I had to kind of think in my head, does that count as Warriors or Sixers? Even though he was in Philadelphia.
True.
And it technically counts as Warriors, even though he was in Philadelphia. And my thing wasn't necessarily whether I should put Joel in there. It was whether I should put Moses in there.
Moses, I knew you were going to say it.
So I had to look it up. And the numbers that Wilt put up in the 3.5 years that he played in Philly are absolutely incredible. They're absolutely incredible. I was like, there's no way you can leave him off this list. There's no way.
So my question I had with that was, knowing that, because obviously knows Will killed it with Philly and just killed it in general, how many more years Embiid need to do what he did the last couple years to be put over Will? Is it possible without rings? Obviously, rings and his stats would, I think, do it.
He had to play his whole career here. I think because of what Wilt did, and he's from Philly too, like what he did in that span.
God, it sucks to be drafted as a center in Philadelphia, huh? Like you're climbing a literal mountain to be put on like the Mount Rushmore for centers on there.
Yeah, that what Wilt did. Like I got to pull up.
How about this? How many more years does Embiid need to do to be over Moses? How about that?
He got a better chance of getting over Moses in a year or so, if he's not already to some people. But Wilt, and I think it may be a little unfair to Joel because some of what I think Wilt did and kind of how I'm judging him is more of his career more so than his Sixers career.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe the question has to be a little more defined. Is it what a player did in their career that played for the Sixers, or is it more what the player did Sixers? Because you look at a guy like Hal Greer, who's played his whole, I believe he played his whole career in Philly in the numbers that he put up. So most people outside of maybe us would never include Hal Greer. But if you look at the record books, you can't keep him out of there.
No. He's top 75 player. I did see some lists that had Mo Cheeks over Hal Greer at top point guard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people could, if you don't know Hal Greer, you could easily do that. When you have Mo now is a Hall of Fame player, but you looking through the record books, Mo's in there, assists, steals. That's a legitimate thing when you're looking more like a point guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, true. More if you're judging, hey, I need a point guard instead of just a guard. Most people would go with Mo Cheeks, but if you're just saying, Hal Greer is the leading scorer in Philadelphia history,
yeah,
that says a lot with all that talent. You know what
True.
I'm saying? Even yes, it says a lot about longevity, but it still says a lot as far as him playing. AI didn't finish his career there, and Doc didn't start his career there, so we don't know if that could have been different. But hey, right here on another note, basically the same note, but another note, Will average 27 and 24 with the Sixers.
That's stupid. That's what that is.
His numbers are so crazy that people will knock him and say, well, he couldn't do that right now because the numbers are just so crazy.
Yeah.
But,
JJ Redick would say he was going against plumbers and firemen, though.
Pretty soon they'll say that about us.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But...
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he probably was, guys. I've talked to a lot of older players. Some of those guys did have second jobs. It wasn't because they were plumbers and firemen, because that's what they needed to take care of their family.
Yeah. That was his competition, though. You can't change what the competition was, right? I mean, that's who he played against. That's what the league was, right?
He played against Bill Russell.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can give Bill Russell all this credit and then say he played against firemen.
Mm-hmm.
Calling Bill Russell a fireman and plumber?
Yeah. Well, I think going back to the Reddit quote, I think he said that about when what's his name? Mad Dog was talking about Bob Cousy, right?
Cousy, yes.
Yeah. But same era. Same, obviously Bill Russell, same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jerry West, who are you saying it about?
Yeah, exactly. You're insulting another top 20 player, top 10 player.
Yeah. In
doing that. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting while I was doing it. I was
let it go. That's why you don't. That's why you let it go and you don't compare all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough though. Embiid's got a mountain to climb. Yeah, I'd say he had to finish his career here. I'd say another 5 years, 6 years of what he's doing right now. If he were to become the all-time Phillies scorer, that might do it.
Yeah, no, that's why I said I think that his longevity is. If you're looking at his longevity or his longevity of dominance, where he's considered, a top player in the league, like he is now. How long does that stick? Does it turn into getting past the second round? So I think it has to play out a little more. If we don't get past the second round, and Moses Malone may still be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How close?
Go ahead.
I was going to say how close, because you guys are more familiar with the older basketball. How close would Doug Collins come to being on that top in the starting five, or would he not be, or his numbers not indicative of being a top five shooting guard?
If we're picking five, it's not a knock on anybody that doesn't make it.
Right. No, 100%. I was saying what were Doug Collins, was he elite at a certain point with the Sixers?
Yeah, I thought Doug was, for the time that he was there, Doug had some good times there, but it's just you got AI and the leading scorer in Sixer history.
Of course, 100%.
That's not a knock on Doug.
Yeah,
100%.
The other guy that came up a lot too at 4 was Bobby Jones too. If you look at all-time lists, he was right there with Barkley at 4.
Yeah, we know. With my thing with Charles is how dominant he was when he was there, and how dominant he was when he left. So it was just a matter of if Charles would have stayed, it's he's arguably the best six.
A no-brainer. So, yeah. He still played there. He played there 8 years. So
yeah, I don't think you put anybody in front of Charles.
Yeah, that's gonna be 8 years is definitely good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good
I mean, it's how you look at it. I mean, when I talk to Mo Cheeks, Mo Cheeks, of course, played with Doc and Moses and all them, and he's high on Andrew Toney.
Yep, that's another guy too.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Mo Cheeks will put Andrew Toney on that list anytime before he put himself on there, just from how he talked about those guys and who they were as players. So it's just very interesting when, and he would always say the numbers don't tell you how good he was. He would always say that. He was just like, he was a gamer. So that's
also,
where a lot of times we're looking at him from a number standpoint more so than, the impact when they were playing. But that's what we have to do, is not, because that's the only thing we can go by really is numbers. Like, I didn't see how Greer played. If we're saying people that I've seen play, then my list will probably change because I didn't see Wilt play either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I would have a list based on who I've actually physically seen with my eyes or watched on television or played with, and a list of all-time greats, including the people I didn't see play. Mm-hmm. My list would be different.
And Moses just wasn't in Philly long enough, right? If you give him all the Houston years in Philly, I mean, I'd say arguably he'd be higher than Wilt at this point.
Arguably, yes, but we also had to include Wilt's years somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was saying with Wilt, the only thing that would not put him in there is his longevity with the Sixers. Like how long? Like, he didn't play a lot of his years with us, even though he played in Philly, and that's why I had to check it, because I wasn't sure how many years he was in Philly with the Sixers versus Philly with the Warriors.
Was Butler in Philly long enough to be eligible?
Who?
I'm kidding. Butler. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh yeah, no.
28 games. He actually showed. I looked it up. He showed up on some people's list. I was like, man, come on. But see, that goes into your whole, what are you judging? How long he played for you, or how good of a player he was? And yeah, he did a pit stop at your city type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's, if you're talking about, like, I would take Iggy and what he did in Philly over what Jimmy Butler did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I take Thaddeus Young on that list too. Andrew all day.
I would take Korver over Butler if we're talking about what they did in Philadelphia. I mean, he played for like 5-6 years in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So it's I just think once you kind of say what the rules are, what how we're picking this list, it changes based on what the criteria is, basically.
For sure.
Yeah, mine was a mix of nostalgia and guys you couldn't take off the list. That's why I had you and AI in the 1 and 2. And
I wouldn't even put myself on there, but thank you, I appreciate it.
See, Marcus was building a team. What he was doing.
Yeah. I also had like a fun team of guys that it would be fun to kind of put together. Was I had Harden at 1, Iverson at 2, Korver at 3, Reggie Evans at 4, and Samuel Talbot at 5. Just guys I grew up watching, and just nostalgia, man.
Still looking for that lob threat, huh?
That'd be you just basically took a 2-man offense with Harden and AI, and then you had like Evans just rebounding anything they missed, huh?
Yeah. That was
pretty much it.
That was my logic.
Yeah. Harden AI average like 40 a game to equal 80, and the rest of the guys get like 7 to 8, and then just
You have Korver wide open in the corner. You got Reggie and D'Alembert banging.
Yeah, you have D'Alembert blocking shots, protecting the rim. You got Evans rebounding, Korver hitting threes. The other 2 guys just shooting 35 times a game, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Would Aaron McKee be the best 6 man of all time in history? I would say him and Lou Williams probably top 2 for me. Say if he had if we're rating 6.
Are we considering Bobby Jones a 6 man?
I mean, are we? I don't know. I don't know much about Bobby Jones.
I would think historically, if you're considering Bobby Jones a 6 man, then Bobby would probably win it out.
Yeah.
Over longevity and what he did there. I would. as much as I love Aaron and want to say Aaron, it's just Bobby, how long he played there and all that he was. But I just don't know like how much Bobby as far as starter reserve. Like I don't really know.
He was primarily a bench guy.
Yeah.
So there was 1 year that he played a lot. He started a lot of games, but for the most part, every other season but that, he came up.
That's what I thought.
So yeah, you probably have to give it to Jones.
Hey, we've had some good six men then between Lou, Aaron McKee, and Bobby Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to throw that in there. That'll be a fun topic for to talk about the starting fives and six positions.
Yeah, it was great. I love it.